p.m. and this is CBX Business News. The business news headlines are brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible. A global earnings shift, a major tourism investment, and oil risk return. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Monday, June 1, 2026. I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for joining us. Coming up, Grace Kennedy's overseas profit share has topped Jamaica for the first time, marking a major shift in the company's business model and earnings base. Also ahead, Antigua and Barbuda advances its luxury tourism strategy through a US $200 million private investment. And later, Iran suspends talks with the United States, reviving concerns over global oil routes and energy security. Stay with us as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
We get the big contract. 50,000 units a month for 3 years. Great. Won't need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange junior market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, Tease the Senses, and Pulse Investments. Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a major shift in Grace Kennedy's business model. Grace Kennedy is reporting a change in its earnings profile, with international operations now carrying greater weight than Jamaica in the group's profit mix. For the first time in the company's history, profits generated outside Jamaica surpassed those earned at home. Speaking at the company's annual general meeting recently, Group Chief Executive Officer Frank James says international operations accounted for over 50% of profits in 2025.
Now, interestingly, as a result of that, for the first time, we're actually seeing profits outside of Jamaica being more than profits inside Jamaica. So profits outside Jamaica for 2025 was 51%.
James acknowledged that Hurricane Melissa distorted the comparison by hitting local operations particularly hard.
This really reflects the impact of Hurricane Melissa because the full impact of Melissa, of course, was in Jamaica. If you again adjust for that, then profits outside Jamaica would have been 45%. And so Jamaica would continue to be large, but you will see that profits outside Jamaica, even on this adjusted basis, have grown quite meaningfully from 41% to 45%. And that's really because we have seen strong double-digit growth in profits in our three major international food markets, the UK, the US, and Canada, all showing double-digit growth in profits.
And as the international profile surges, Grace Kennedy is also signaling a potential new frontier for its financial empire. The company has revealed that asset management could add a new dimension to its expanding financial services portfolio, propelling its next phase of growth. Group Chief Executive Officer Frank James stopped short of detailing specific plans, but indicated that further moves are on the way.
Asset management is a big growth area, and before the year is out, you'll be hearing more announcements about how we're going to be growing our asset management business.
That was Grace Kennedy Group CEO Frank James. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE, says its long-planned micro-market is moving closer to launch, with the first listing now approaching as companies move through the preparatory stage. The market is designed to provide small and micro businesses with greater access to capital, while supporting the transition of informal enterprises into the formal economy. Speaking on the sideline of the JSE annual general meeting, Group Chief Executive Officer Livingston Morrison told CBX Business News that the exchange is already working with interested companies, with the launch date expected to be announced soon.
We are ready, the market is ready for its first listing, and we are anxiously awaiting the first listing. There are different entities that are jockeying for that position to be first, but we're being very deliberate about it. We want for companies coming to the market to be well prepared, and we're investing the time and attention to make sure that we go through the requirements with the different companies, the responsibilities associated with listing. So we anticipate that the launch, and that's going to be reserved for the minister, right? The minister has been very supportive. I'm very excited about this. So we're leaving that announcement for the minister, but it's going to be soon.
That was JSE Group CEO Livingston Morrison. In other news, Barita Financial Group is moving deeper into property development, unveiling a multi-year real estate pipeline that it says could become a new long-term growth engine for the business. Speaking during the company's earnings briefing, Chief Executive Officer for Real Estate Development Bernard Stocker says Barita currently controls several properties across Kingston and Jamaica's north coast.
We have in total around 7 properties of around 2,000 acres of land. We have 3 properties here in Kingston. There's a very smaller industrial property at Ferry Pen. Then we have a site here at Harbour Street, and then at Lady Musgrave. These are the 3 Kingston properties that we want to develop as a priority. And then on the North Shore, we have Reggae Beach, Windsor Estate, Ruins at the Falls, and Greencastle. So I've broken this up basically in development sequences that gives us an idea of how we want to develop these properties, how we want to approach this. So the smaller ones here in Kingston, we certainly want to focus on, and we want to deliver.
That was CEO for Real Estate Development at Barita, Bernard Stocker. We move to the latest updates from the JSE Equities. In Monday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 112 stocks, of which 43 advanced, 56 declined, and 13 traded firm. Leading today's winners are MFS Capital Partners, AS Bryden & Sons Holdings 6% Class A preference share, Iron Rock Insurance Company, and Mayberry Group. While leading the losers are Cygnus Real Estate Financial, Main Event Entertainment Group, Cygnus Real Estate Finance Limited USD, and Image Plus Consultants. The main index declined by 2,573.50 points to close at 338,770.65 points. The junior market index also declined by 68.08 points or 2.18% to close at 3,049.50 points. It's time for the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. In today's Market Education feature, we're discussing asset management. Asset management is the process of managing investments and other valuable assets to help grow wealth while balancing risk and return. It involves making decisions about buying, holding, and selling assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, and cash. Asset managers work to achieve specific financial goals based on an investor's objectives, risk tolerance, and time horizon. The aim of asset management is to maximize value, preserve capital, and generate returns through careful planning and ongoing monitoring of investments. That was the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next. The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
People said, "Doug, you're crazy. That can't be done. You don't know, people lazy." Very often the people we overlook in what we think is the bottom rung of every organization are very often the smartest ones at improving productivity. Once people are clear on what they can do and you give them the tools to do it, you'll be amazed.
Mikey, is what sweet you saw?
Yeah, dear babes. Where is Cathy? Me and you go party tonight.
Party? You secure your future yet? Careless.
Did you know that over time the stock market has provided a reliably high return on investments? Be sure to contact a licensed stockbroker for more information on this exciting investment opportunity.
Taking care of business, Mikey?
Yeah, Cathy. I'm securing my future. Want to come look over my stock portfolio?
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Build up your body, boost up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. CARICOM is seeking stronger international backing for reforms to the global financial system as the region continues its push for greater access to affordable development financing. During the accreditation of Italy's new ambassador to CARICOM, Her Excellency Giuditta Giorgio, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett says the region is seeking Italy's support in advancing reforms to the global financial architecture. She pointed to the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, known as the MVI, which would assess countries not only by income levels, but also by their exposure to climate and economic shocks. CARICOM has long argued that many Caribbean countries struggle to access affordable financing despite high vulnerability to hurricanes, debt pressures, and external economic disruptions. Regional leaders believe wider use of the MVI could help unlock unlock financing for climate resilience, infrastructure, and sustainable development. Meanwhile, Ambassador Georgia reaffirmed Italy's commitment to expanding cooperation with CARICOM in development, energy, and environmental initiatives. Antigua and Barbuda is attracting a major new tourism investment with a $200 million luxury resort project set to expand the country's high-end hospitality market and drive fresh economic activity. The Long Bay Zen Resort, developed by the Edia Karan Group, will feature 113 luxury accommodations, including overwater bungalows. The development will also incorporate renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and smart technology as part of a low-carbon design strategy. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony recently, Prime Minister Gaston Brown says the project supports his government's strategy of positioning the country at the upper end of the global tourism market.
And as you know, we have taken a decision to transform Antigua and Barbuda into a smart, sustainable luxury island destination. Again, Sophie and I would have spoken extensively about this, so she understands the vision. And they have designed a hotel project to literally deliver on this vision of creating this lifestyle superpower here in Antigua and Barbuda, while at the same time to ensure that we pursue these luxury tourism developments in a very sustainable way.
Brown says the development represents the type of high-value investment the country is seeking to attract as it expands the premium tourism offerings and broader economic opportunities.
I see this project serving as the prototype going forward for a number of small properties in which we're going for the quiet luxury, projects that are sustainable, and projects that will be able to earn a premium, not these all-inclusives in which they go for the low-end tourists who come here and can't even spend $200 a night. And that is not helping with our development. No disrespect, but again, it's about improving the living standards of our people. And you can't build a successful country based on poor people. And if you're going to have tourism as the most important sector, which it is, then clearly the earnings must increase not only for the investors, but also for the workers. Even government taxes, we want to make sure that you generate significant profits so that we too can benefit from corporate taxes, or even the ABST for that matter, in the event that your corporate taxes are waived. So again, we're looking for overall development and for everyone to benefit, government, people, shareholders, a whole inclusive ecosystem.
That was Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown. In other news, Trinidad and Tobago's offshore energy sector has attracted new international investment as U.S. energy company Occidental Petroleum moves into a major exploration project off the country's east coast. Occidental has acquired a 10% stake in ExxonMobil's Deepwater UD1 block, adding a second global energy company to the project. The investment comes as Trinidad and Tobago works to revitalize an energy industry faced with years of declining oil and gas production. ExxonMobil is currently conducting seismic surveys to determine whether the acreage contains commercially viable oil or gas reserves. Those results are expected to guide future exploration and drilling decisions. The entry of Occidental is being viewed as a vote of confidence into the block's potential and could help attract further investment into Trinidad and Tobago's offshore energy industry. A commercial discovery would provide a significant boost to future natural gas supplies and one of the country's most important economic sectors. We now move to news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 23 securities, of which 5 advanced, 9 declined, and 9 traded firm. Today's winners are Endeavour Holdings, Ansa McCall, JMMB Group, and AS Bryden & Sons Holdings, while leading the losers are Unilever Caribbean, Point Lisas Industrial Port Development Corporation, National Flour Mills, and CIBC Caribbean Bank. Trading activity resulted in the following movements of the TTSE indices. The All TNT Index advanced by 16.71 points to close at 1,440.44. The Composite Index also advanced, but by 6.72 points to close at 997.15. The Cross-Listed Index, however, declined by 0.58 points to close at 73.17, while the SME Index advanced by 6.76 points to close at 86.54. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today. I called them, they listened to my concerns and my fears, and they gave me the answers. All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is one of the best decisions I have ever made in business. If you want to change the trajectory of your business and to grow, make that call today to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You will be glad you did.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Welcome back. In international news, Iran has suspended negotiations with the United States, adding fresh uncertainty to efforts to end the three-month conflict and raising new concerns about global energy supplies. Iranian state-aligned media reported Monday that Tehran had halted talks and the exchange of negotiating texts through mediators in protest over Israel's expanding military offensive in Lebanon. The move complicates diplomatic efforts that had been underway between Washington and Tehran and introduces fresh uncertainty into markets already sensitive to geopolitical risks. The development also triggered immediate concern across global energy markets. Iranian reports suggest Tehran could consider closing the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping corridor through which roughly one-fifth of global oil supplies moved before the conflict, along with other strategic waterways. It is important to note that the Strait of Hormuz and nearby routes remain central to global oil and commercial shipping flows. Any disruption could increase freight costs, tighten energy supplies, and place renewed pressure on inflation and fuel prices worldwide. The diplomatic freeze comes as Israel presses deeper into Lebanon, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordering new strikes on Hezbollah-controlled areas of Beirut. Meanwhile, Washington says it was not warned in advance of Iran's decision, but President Donald Trump insists the door to diplomacy may not be closed just yet. President Trump is continuing to project confidence that diplomacy with Iran remains possible despite Tehran's decision to suspend negotiations. When questioned by journalists on Monday, Trump reported that he had not been informed in advance of Iran's move to halt talks. The president went further to downplay the surprise, suggesting the suspension reflected negotiating tactics rather than military strength. He also signaled that Washington was not immediately shifting towards a wider military campaign, saying the United States would instead maintain its blockade. But even before the announcement by Iranian officials, the U.S. president publicly kept alive the prospect of a negotiated agreement. Writing on Truth Social early Monday morning, the president said Iran really wants to make a deal and argued that any agreement would be beneficial to both the United States and its allies. Trump also complained that political commentary surrounding the conflict had made negotiations more difficult, but insisted the situation would ultimately work out well in the end. His comments came only hours after a fresh exchange of military action. The U.S. military reportedly struck Iranian military sites over the weekend, while Iran's Revolutionary Guards allegedly targeted a U.S. base in response. As tensions persist, the coming days are expected to determine whether the pause represents temporary bargaining pressure or a deeper rupture with implications for regional stability and energy markets. And energy markets are back under pressure following the latest development between Iran and the U.S. Oil markets sharply reversed course on Monday, with crude prices recording their biggest single-day jump in weeks after the suspension of U.S.-Iran talks reignited fears of supply disruptions across the Middle East. U.S. crude oil rose as much as 8.5% to nearly $95 per barrel, while international Brent crude climbed above $97, wiping out 2 weeks of price declines that had been driven by expectations of a diplomatic breakthrough. The price shock quickly spread across the energy complex. Heating oil, a benchmark for jet fuel costs, jumped 7%, while wholesale gasoline prices advanced 4%, signaling potential pressure ahead for transportation, aviation, and consumer energy costs. The oil surge also fed through to broader financial markets. U.S. Treasury yields moved higher as investors repriced inflation and borrowing risks, underscoring how geopolitical tensions are once again driving global market sentiment. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
I'm trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
I'm also trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
Start a conversation with the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Check jamstockx.com for information and a list of registered stockbrokers. You can also call the Jamaica Stock Exchange at 876-967-3271 for information on how to begin. I am achieving my financial goals.
I'm achieving my financial goals.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Grace Kennedy's overseas profit share tops Jamaica for the first time. Regionally, Antigua advances luxury tourism with US $200 million private investment. And internationally, Iran suspends US talks as oil route risks re-emerge. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.